And joining me right now here on the Mark Moses Show to recap round one of the NFL draft last night there in Green Bay and look ahead to rounds 2 through 7 over the next couple of days. He is my good friend, Brian Bosarge with Draft Countdown. He's been joining me for years on the phone, but now we get to see his beautiful face. Brian, how you doing today, buddy?
I am exhausted, Mark. I got about 4 hours of sleep last night. I've been mainlining caffeine all morning, but hey, day 2, we're ready to go.
Do you make your body get prepared for Thursday, Friday, Saturday? I try to, and I still have issues. How about you?
No, there's no way. I have Sunday, and I plan on sleeping in Sunday. Family's actually out of town. So it's just me here. So I actually might get some deep sleep Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right, let's start with the obvious. I did not have a lot of kind of excitement for last night compared to previous years. I'm on record as saying that. But then all of a sudden it got entertaining. It did, especially the Jaguars at 2. Overall, entertainment-wise, Brian, what did you think of last night?
For a draft where going in you knew that the quarterback situation, although they tried to make it about that all night long on the broadcast, you knew going in that this was not going to be the quarterback top heavy. Like last year, it was awesome, right? Quarterbacks drive the narrative and everything. This year we had Cam Ward, and that was it. So when Jacksonville trades up to 2, and you start hearing rumblings about that before the draft went on the air, and you're like, are they actually going to pull this off? And they do. It does create a buzz for everything that follows after that. So yeah, I was fairly entertained.
What was interesting, so last night at my draft party, I do this game where everyone at the sports bar, you got to get the most picks right in the top 10. And our winner last night, he seriously got 8 out of 10, which was incredible. I noticed this. I want your thoughts. Most people at my party last night got the first 4 players right. Were those just like they were so locked in that's what was going to happen last night? Because that's what it felt like.
I'm actually surprised Moore didn't get the first 6. If you're not matching them to teams and you're just getting 1 through 6, because I think 1 through 6, because for the longest time, everybody had Jacksonville taking Mason Graham at 5 and Genty going 6 to the Raiders. This was like lockstep in. But yeah, so I'm not surprised. I think it kind of got. I'm guessing 8 and 10 were the 2 spots that the guy missed. Just looking because Mimbo to the Jets was a fairly mock thing, and Kelvin Banks to the Saints kind of started picking up some steam, especially in the last couple of days. So no, the amount it felt kind of chalky of the order it went in, but the teams matched didn't seem to match up there.
We're at Brian Bosarge Draft Countdown recapping round 1 last night, and you could tell both of our voices. Yeah, it was a long night. It was. Okay, entertainment-wise, so here's how it started last night. For the 3 people that didn't watch, so Clay Matthews steals the microphone. No one knows what he's going to say. No idea. Then he makes fun of the Bears. Okay, Tennessee's up there. They get like 5 minutes of, okay, we're going to take this quarterback. Then Jacksonville steals their thunder by saying there's a trade. Did the Titans get screwed over just from this was our moment to shine in that 15 minutes?
I find it even more funny that it was their division rival, I guess, if you will, that stole the thunder away from them. But I mean, you've had months now where you had all the attention on yourself, but they'll deal with it, I guess. But no, that was, like I said, that's fun. And the amount that Jacksonville, it was willing to part with to go up was I think the talk about it to the point that Travis Hunter is going to be a 2-way player for them. You're not. There's no way they're making that bold of a move if Travis Hunter's not playing 120 snaps a game.
Okay, this is a layered question. Did Jacksonville give up too much to go up to number 2? I say yes. I think this is insane for a non-quarterback to give up that king's ransom. What do you think?
Generally speaking, I would agree. But if you look at it under the guise of you're going to save a roster spot if you're going to have this guy playing both ways. you're not going to ask him to be your number one receiver, although he could be. Brian Thomas Jr. is clearly your number one wide receiver, but I think he is going to be their number one corner. It's going to be interesting. It gives Trevor Lawrence another weapon for sure. And it wasn't too much because like I said, maybe it's too much because we don't see it for non-quarterbacks like ever. So that's that we're kind of under the guise, but we've also never really we haven't had in decades even a player like Travis Hunter, right? That's with that ability. So it's going to be interesting to see, and because their division is not good. I mean, the Titans are bad, the Jags were bad, the Colts were bad, and the Texans weren't as good as they were the year before, right? So it feels like maybe the one they gave up next year, in theory, could be at the mid-teens at the worst, right? Or at the best, maybe they make the playoffs. So, and it goes into the 20s. So you don't feel like you gave up as much. It's something we won't know until at the end of next season when we see where Jacksonville finishes.
All right. If you're Jacksonville, look, you're an irrelevant franchise nationally. I'm sorry. You are. And I cover the Jaguars. They are. No one cares about them. This gives them star appeal. Something, I mean, all right, I'm just looking off the top of my head. When's the last time they had a star, a superstar that could be in commercials and kids wanted to be like? I don't even know. If you think Mark Brunell, they have one Hall of Famer, Tony Baselli. Like that I understand. But if you're going to use him, like you said, both ways, so would you play him defensive back the whole game and then 20 plays on offense? I mean, he's only a human being here. He can't play 90 snaps a game. What do you think, Brian?
I think it may, and this feels like a cop-out answer, but I think maybe it's just going to depend game to game, right? And the flow of the game. So that might be, but like it's new offensive coordinator. I mean, the offensive coordinator is the head coach, Liam Cohen. He's going to want to use him on offense a lot.
Yes.
So it's just going to be up to. Like I said, he played 120 snaps a game in college. 120 snaps in the Big 12 a game is a lot different than 120 snaps in the NFL. Just from a physical perspective, it's very interesting. And like you said, it's going to make the Jacksonville Jaguars relevant because even then, now people are going to want to watch their games to see if he can do that. But
yes, you're absolutely right. We're here with Brian Bosarge, Draft Countdown. What about injuries? He's going to get banged up. Look, for content, it's fantastic. For the Jaguars, I don't know. Let's go to the other side. I think this was great for Cleveland. They have no picks. They're a terrible franchise. And especially after Watson, they had to get draft picks. I think it was great. You only went to 5 and got a great player. What did you think of Cleveland last night?
I thought it was interesting before the draft ever started. Like in the middle of the afternoon yesterday, suddenly some random trade pops up. They dealt three day 3 picks to Houston for a 5th round pick. And it's like, what brought this on, right? And like a 2027 5th round pick or something. And it's like, okay, sure, you're not gonna. That many guys are their roster is still decent. So that many, they had like 10 or 11 draft picks. Not many of those rookies were going to make the team. I get it. But then you do this, and I'm like, okay, you're passing on Abdul Carter. You're passing on Travis Hunter by moving back. They obviously had the plan of Mason Graham because they knew he was going to be there. And that seems to be a guy they really like. He'll now go dominating on their interior next to Myles Garrett. As a Bengals fan, this is not an ideal situation to have to play against when your offensive line has consistently sucked for a decade now. So it's not ideal for something I'm looking forward to seeing. But I get Cleveland's vision here, and now you get the one next year. So let's say Cleveland tonight, they have several day 2 picks tonight. Let's say they don't take a quarterback tonight. I think they will, but maybe they don't. Now you've got more picks next year to move up in what we're projecting to be a better quarterback class in 26. I get it. I get the vision that Cleveland has here.
Okay, two teams then. Because it kind of got lost in the shuffle because it was later in the night, Eastern Standard Time. All right. Atlanta and the Giants also traded back into round one and gave up a lot. We'll start with the Giants. They got Jackson Dart. You know what? I do not like Jackson Dart. I would not have traded in. How about you, Brian?
I was not the biggest Jackson. He was quarterback 4 on my board. So I wasn't his biggest fan, but the Giants apparently really loved him. They made, and hell, the GM's son was Instagramming out videos about Jackson Dart 2 days ago, basically giving the game away. I love that somebody said, well, at least he doesn't have to get grounded now, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't think they gave up a lot to come up. They gave up their compensatory third-round pick and the pick that they would have, maybe selected Dart with at the top of the second round and a 26th third-round pick. If Dart ends up working out and is their QB of the future, then it was well worth it. He's not going to play this year or shouldn't have to. You've got Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston both on one-year contracts. He's going to be the third quarterback on game day. He should never see a snap all season long, barring injuries or whatever. And then he's ready to step in 26. He's going to
play. No. See, you sound like an intelligent human being, and you're forgetting these football teams. I think he'll play later in the year. I do not believe in Jameis. I don't believe in Russell Wilson. I could see him getting on the football field late in the season.
The problem is if he's not ready to play, then he's not going to be a part of their future team's plans because the whole shebang, Joe Schoen, the GM, Brian Daboll, the head coach, they're all getting canned if they don't turn it around this year. So that's why I think they have to play Russell Wilson to try to just stay relevant because like I said, if they're picking at the top of the draft again next year, they're all fired anyway. And then whoever the new team is coming in, they have no loyalty to Jackson Dart. So he's on the trading block for a conditional 4th round pick 2 years from now, if that's the case.
Okay, real quick then. Atlanta. Okay, I like them getting the Georgia player, like 15 overall. But then what did they trade to the Rams late in the first round? I know you're looking at your stats right now. We're here with Brian Bosarge. What did Atlanta? I thought Atlanta gave up a lot. What did they do?
Atlanta to come up 20 spots because they were picking 46 in round 2. The Rams went all the way back. They had to give up their first next year. And they essentially pick swapped a 3rd this year and a 7th. So the Rams got back a 7th in this draft. The Rams sent their compensatory 3rd, which is 101 to the Falcons. So everybody has said the Falcons need to draft an edge rusher for like a decade now, and they never did. And they get the one in Jalen Walker, and everyone's like, yay, way to go, guys. We finally did it. And then they double up and give up a 1 next year to draft Tennessee's James Pierce, who has issues on it, or has red flags of does he actually like to play the sport of football?
Oh.
So because if he doesn't have that on him, he's long gone. Like because he's ran a 4 let's see, was it 4 he's a 4.47 guy at 6'5", 245 pounds. And he bends, he gets around the edge. He's a tremendous pass rusher when he looks motivated. But there are a large swaths of game tape where he looks very lackadaisical, if you will. So I don't know. They felt like they definitely need to upgrade their pass rush, and they did it in theory, but at what cost?
In theory, if he's motivated. Great analysis. We're here with Brian Bosarge, Draft Countdown. All right, the Buccaneers. I was a little shocked. They got a great player. My analysis this morning is like, all right, that's great. Is every game on Sunday this fall going to be 43-41 final score? Like, what are your thoughts on them taking the Texas wide receiver?
I mean, that's the Bengals plan on doing that way. So, I mean, it's fun. Hey, you can't say it won't be fun games to watch, Mark.
Yeah.
But I think here the thought process is Mike Evans is older, right? I mean, he's been up there. Chris Godwin hasn't been healthy, for about 2 or 3 seasons now. So that to me is the logic here. I think drafting Emeka Egbuka, who becomes what this is he's the 5th Ohio State wide receiver to be drafted in the first round in the last 4 years.
Wow.
It's just a factory. And, they'll have another one here going in the top 3 2 years from now, Jeremiah Smith. I don't know who's going to be the one drafted in the first round next year. I guess we'll have to find out. But it's insane. And Egbuka's really good. And as what would you have to think would be the 3rd receiving option on that team as a rookie, I mean, that's going to put some NFC South defenses in a bind.
Yes. So it's like fire the cannons, Abuka. See, I already know what they're going to do at the stadium. It's like a great pick. It is. But then if you're the Buccaneers, do you just go defense the rest of the draft? You just go that route, buddy.
Probably. I mean, and maybe they just weren't in love with the defensive players on the board. I mean, there are a few corners that went later on after them. Like I thought maybe Jahdae Barron, who went the next pick to the Broncos, might have been somebody they looked for. Maybe Derek Harmon, the defensive lineman, who went 2 picks later to Pittsburgh, might have been a guy they were looking at. But hey, they want to score.
Yeah,
I'm all for that.
Yeah, if you're Baker Mayfield, that was a big win for you last
night.
He
loved it. No doubt. He loved it.
Yeah, real quick, if I could ask you about the Dolphins. It kind of feels like today, like there's no love. Like, oh, yeah, they took a defensive player. Who did they take, and what did you think of the pick?
They get defensive lineman Kenneth Grant, who's a big run plugger, defensive tackle. He's going to fit right in the middle of their defense. Kind of, I don't want to say replacing what they lost a couple of seasons ago with Christian Wilkins, but it's kind of in that mold where he can rush the passers some, but that's not his main forte. He's mostly going to be a run plugger, but he's a dog. Captain, he's going to be a guy that, it's not going to be flashy, but he's the guy that you want to have.
We're here with Brian Bosarge, Draft Countdown. Okay, I've gone 17 minutes. Why did Shedeur Sanders not get drafted in the first round?
The circus is a lot cheaper on second round money than it is first round money. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like you said, there's questions about his pocket presence. There's questions about his arm strength. And then the whole Deion circus, people can say all they want. That's part of it. It's the only thing I can figure out. I think he's going to go early tonight. I put out a day 2 mock earlier this morning on the site. I had him going because a lot of people thought he could go 9 to New Orleans. In some of the earlier mock drafts in the last couple of weeks, I think he could be there on the board at 40. And they pop in there.
I told you after the combine, this was a couple months ago now, with the way he was acted at the combine, I'm like, no. I just knew right. I'm like, no, he's going to turn teams off. You're right. There's too much of a circus. And what I liked about Cam Ward is, and he even had this feeling last night, hey, I'm here to play football. You were talking about the Giants player of, we got to make sure he's motivated. Cam Ward, they asked him after the draft, they're like, all right, now what? Are you going to celebrate? He's like, nope, go to bed. Then I got to go to Nashville. I'm ready to play. And you're right. My question for Shedeur Sanders is, he's probably had his dad coaching him since he was a little kid. Pee-wee, junior high, high school, college. Deion's not coming with you. I think it's going to be an eye-opener for Shedeur, whoever he gets drafted. Who do you think will draft him tonight then?
Like I said, I think the spots to look at are New Orleans at 40. I think the Raiders with their second-round pick here at the top could be. I'm not ruling – Cleveland's got 2 picks in the first 4 tonight. I'm not ruling them out as well. And if Pittsburgh doesn't have a second-round pick, so that's who a lot of people had linked him to in the first round. I don't think he tumbles all the way to – I think they pick 83 in the third round. I would not think he would tumble that far.
No.
And I will throw out the Rams at pick. They now have pick 46 that they got in the Atlanta trade. If he's still on the board there, I think they're looking – they could, take him as a pass the torch guy from Matt Stafford at some point. So I was, that's just a handful of names I'll throw out there.
Okay, let's end with this. And by the way, I know you're super tired. Thank you for doing this with me. I appreciate it, man. We're both going to be sleeping all day Sunday. We're here with Brian Bosarge, Draft Countdown. You know what I have to ask? The Bears took a tight end, but not the one people thought. Okay, what did you think? What is his name?
Colston Loveland.
I love Joy from The Simpsons. No, Loveland. What did you think of this pick at 10? And
I was surprised. I was really surprised that they passed him over Tyler Warren. I was asked this question by someone else this morning, and the best I can come up with is they feel he has more upside, maybe more overall athleticism, although he didn't test, but neither did Tyler Warren. And he's 2 years younger. So I think that's the issue at this point. Ben Johnson, the new head coach there, and you saw what he did with Sam Laporta. Now he's got him and Cole Kmet. I get the vision. Chicago's got 2 picks in the first 10 tonight.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get you a running back. I think there's some good edge rushers still on the board that kind of fell down for different reasons out of the first round. If the Bears can come out of early tonight with Colston Loveland yesterday, Travion Henderson from Ohio State, and maybe a Donovan Ezuraku or Mike Green on the pass rusher, that's a win, my man.
Yeah, I agree. And you look at his tape, this Michigan, and by the way, I think Michigan was a big winner last night as a school. Usually it's Georgia the last couple of drafts. Michigan got a lot of high picks in this. And I know they won the title 2 years ago. He looks like this year I'm going to be a homer. Him and the Penn State tight end both look like studs out there. That's interesting. You bring up 2 years younger. He looks like he's Travis Kelce running those routes. That's what it looks like to me. So we're going to find out. How should we follow you on Twitter? What's the website for the latest moving forward this weekend, bud?
Yeah, like I said, if you want to kind of get an eye out on who's maybe available tonight still left, I put a 2-round mock draft up this morning for the second, third round at draftcountdown.com. Check that out. Follow Draft Countdown on X at Draft Countdown. Follow me there at Deep Fried Draft, and the same at Blue Sky if the people are on there now.
Oh, I'm on the Blue Sky. Don't worry. I'm on there as well. You need to come back on next week when you're not busy, and we'll get your full reports of winners and losers and your thoughts on WrestleMania. I want your thoughts on that. Because I know you have opinions. Brian, thanks for your help and have a great weekend. All right?
All right. Glad to be here, Mark.